Advices Radio Network.
Drugs and Stuff is for informational, educational purposes only. And this program is brought to you by TrueNutrition.com. You can use our code ADVICES at checkout. Welcome back to Drugs and Stuff with Dave Crosland. I'm Scott McNally. Dave, how are you doing, man?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yes. Interesting week so far.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm going to Dusseldorf next Tuesday.
That's a real place, Dusseldorf?
Yes, it's near Cologne.
It sounds like it would be in like a Harry Potter movie, Dusseldorf.
Why is it Americans in general, their geography of the rest of the world is shit?
I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible. I can tell you how to get to Detroit from here. I can tell you which way is north. That's about it.
Yes, Dusseldorf is near Cologne. I shot a film in Cologne last year, way back, probably April time, I think it was.
Wait a second. I'm gonna interrupt a second because you were in Turkey and you didn't even know what ocean you were on. So there.
Yeah, right. Fair enough.
But movies. So you shot a movie?
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one. I got this message out of the blue on Facebook from a guy called Mario Zuzin. And straight away I was like, that sounds like a made-up name. And he's like, I'm doing a film and I'm interested in potentially casting you for a role in it. And I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. I heard this a million times before, you know.
Dude, you'd be great in a movie, man. You've got like such a look.
Anyway, so he sent me a link to his website, and I had a look at his website, and the guy was the real article. He had he's makes adverts, so he's an advert producer, but we're talking proper high-end stuff, so like Mercedes, Volkswagen, Lufthansa, you know, big budget, and they were all very big and cinematic sort of type ads.
Yeah,
obviously very big budgets, loads of exotic places in them and that sort of thing. Anyway, it turns out he's a marathon runner,
okay,
or a triathlete or something endurance wise, and he wanted to do a film about endurance athletes hitting the wall. And it's a film he's wanted to do for a very long time, and he was finally going to do it, and he was going to release it as a film into some of the film festivals as a competition piece.
Okay.
And it was only destined to be sort of 5 minutes long or so. And the general gist of the film was it was a film about a runner hitting the wall and his internal arguments, both physical and mental, about breaking through this pain barrier of hitting the wall while he was running.
So naturally, they were like, Dave Crosland, you look like an ideal long-distance runner. We want you for this part.
Exactly. my self-physique and obviously my condition and everything else led me directly for this part. Piss off. Now, in Germany, apparently, it's known as meeting the Hammer Man.
Huh.
You get where I come in now, don't you?
I think so.
The Hammer Man is both a representation of both the physical and mental pain. So we filmed in this cave in the middle of fucking nowhere, freezing cold, pissing down with rain, and I'm stood in there in a loincloth looking like an extra out of Vikings with a huge hammer, which I still have.
Oh, wow.
And the cave represented me sort of on several levels. So it sort of represented me being inside this guy's head. And so there's a big open cave and I'm inside this guy's head. And there's a big rock that had been made in the center of this cave. And I strike this rock with a hammer. And at the same time, I'm arguing with the guy who's running about how fucking useless he is. And how he just needs to give up. It's pointless. It's stupid running. Running's pointless. And what's all this pain for what? There's no point. Just stop, give up, go home, have a cup of tea sort of thing.
Ooh, so this is like a psychological, this is what's going on in his head type thing.
So I'm arguing with him. So he's got this mantra, which is a bit like the little steam engine that could sort of thing. He's like, I know I can sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm literally just screaming abuse at him. No, you can't, you fucking prick. Give it up, go home. Ooh. And there was no holds barred on what I said. It was very much a case of just abuse him.
Yeah.
And then the hammer blows are supposed to represent both physical pain from the running and mental pain from the internal argument about doubting yourself and pushing beyond that pain barrier.
Yeah.
So it's like when the film's finally edited, from what I saw on the storyboards, obviously I haven't seen the final film, but what from I saw on the storyboards, it's like you'll see him get cramp and you'll see me hitting the walls at the same time. So I spent 3 days shouting and screaming at this cave and beating the living crap out of it. I remember I lose the plot at one point, throw the hammer away, and I just start beating the walls of the cave with my bare hands, and I broke my finger when I did that.
You're kidding me. You got really into this then.
Didn't realize at the time. You know, it's surprising how tiring it is being emotional.
Yeah.
And because it was all very tight budget, even, I mean, the guys that were working on this were obviously very, very experienced film producers and very experienced film hands, but most of them were given the time up for free. So the makeup artist, the costume lady had all done it for nothing. They were there on set. The sound engineers and the set guys were working for just costs and stuff like, you know, everybody pitched into this for nothing. I mean, I didn't get paid for doing it either. I just got my flights paid for and that was it. So I'm stood on a mud floor, piss through, wet through, barefoot in a loincloth, beating the crap out of this wall. And it's at one point I have to completely lose it and throw myself against the wall. And then there was another point that the guy that had built the props, he built this hammer, which is cool as I've still got it, but he also built a big rock that I was to beat because this cave is a registered monument.
Oh, so you weren't allowed to really beat the cave up.
It's registered as a natural thing of beauty, and it's protected.
Okay. Well,
unfortunately, this rock was supposed to last 3 days, and it lasted about 3 hours.
Man, it took 3 days to film. You said it was like it's a 5-minute film, short film.
Total of 7 days include to film everything for what ended up being a 9-minute film. Yes.
Oh wow.
So at one point he says to me, "Oh, you can, hit the cave wall." So I start hitting the cave wall and really sort of getting into the swing of things. And he's really he's really liking what's going on, what he's seeing in the camera. It's like, go on, keep going. Really. Yeah, and he's used at me to wind me up to try and get me to lose my temper and all this sort of stuff's going on. It's quite a frenzied sort of thing at this point. Anyway, I whacked this bit of wall and this huge lump of rock fell off.
Ooh, let's hope that the rock conservation people aren't listening to this podcast.
I don't think they're going to be listening to Advices Radio.
What are you trying to say, Dave? You trying to say we...
I don't think somebody who looks after a cave in a forest in the middle of Germany will have discovered you yet, Scott.
It's a good point. Okay, point taken. Answer. I accept it.
Anyway... But what it was funny as fuck because the guy that was in charge of like picking the sites and everything, he's running, he's panicking like fuck. He's got the makeup artist putting makeup on the rock wall to make it look aged, and he's trying to get rid of these bits of rock in the forest so that no one notices this big chunk of rock that's come off this wall. Oh, that wasn't. I mean, after they left me, they went. I don't know where it was. One of the Eastern Bloc countries, might have been Romania or something like that, but it was somewhere out that way. Estonia, actually, I think it was.
Oh wow!
And they couldn't afford in the budget to pay for the license to film on the roads they were filming on.
Okay.
So they did it all illegally with spotters at either ends of the road just in case a car or the police came down so they could sort of all jump in the van and bugger off and not be caught filming this guy running up and down this road.
Oh, wow. That's fun. That's exciting. That's like guerrilla movie making.
It was all a bit mad. But yeah, the premiere's next Tuesday. So okay. I fly out next Tuesday to see the film for the first time.
Nice. So it's going to be like is this going to be for a festival, or this is just like the initial viewing party?
This is just like the very first screening of those that have been involved in the film. And I think there's only about 20, 25 people going.
Okay.
So it's very, very much a private screening, and no doubt he'll then announce what he's going to do with the film. He has said that if he gets commercial interest, he gets any financial compensation for selling the film, then we'll all get paid.
Nice.
But at the end of the day, I just did it for a laugh.
Nice. You sent me a picture, which is like a trailer picture for the film. I'll post that up when we put this episode out. Episode 13 we're on, so that'll be up on Facebook and Instagram on the Advices Radio page, guys. So you got to see this. Dave looks. You look out of your head. You look mad.
I had black contacts in, which we lost one. We don't know where it went. And literally, I say I'm running around this forest in a loincloth with a bloody huge hammer.
Oh my gosh!
So it was quite mad. They said I could keep the hammer, so I flew back with this hammer.
Did you keep the contact? I know you only have one left.
No, I lost them, but I flew back with this hammer, and I had to check it in at the airport. I got a few strange looks.
I bet.
Now sits in the corner of my office.
It looks heavy. Is it heavy in real life, or is that just like movies?
No? I mean, it's made of real wood.
Okay.
And the steel strappings, the steel bandings on it are the genuine thing. They are steel bandings.
Huh.
But it's actually it's quite light. It's made of a hardwood, but it's actually quite light, and it has been smashed into rocks at every bit of force I could put behind it.
Yeah.
So it is the real thing. It is effectively a wooden built war hammer that potentially could have been used hundreds of years ago.
Wow. Or next week if you get angry enough at your insurance company.
Oh, I never told you. Yeah, we've got progress. I got a phone call from them yesterday.
Okay.
They have apparently found the evidence of the conversation about transferring the 2 years no claims.
Well, I'll be damned.
And they have reinstated the 2 years no claims on the vehicle that I moved it to, and also given me a further 2 years no claims on my new car, which technically I should have lost because of the accident.
Excellent.
And £30 compensation. So I now have all my no claims back, but also on two cars instead of just one.
Beautiful.
And 30 quid better off.
That's great, man.
That's great. Yesterday was quite a good day.
So you're going to have, you've got a lot coming up. You mentioned on the last episode, you were going to try to get something together, some sort of a training day with Luke Sando when he gets back from Florida. Has anything developed with that? Yeah,
we're going to do something down at Muscle Works in Orpington, which is not the Muscle Works in Bethnal Green that most people have heard of.
Which one is the one that's like up the flight of rickety stairs?
That's Bethnal Green. That's Sav's place. That's quite an old gym. The kitting, it's quite old. It's got a good atmosphere and a lot of big guys in there, but it's not particularly a modern gym.
Okay, I heard
it had closed.
That's what I was gonna say. I thought it closed down. I have heard about this place though for a couple of years, ever since one of our listeners, George White, told me about it. And I wanted to see it. I wanted to feel the experience. Man, I've never been to any gym in the UK, and you guys have like such cool hardcore places. I want to do like a UK gym tour at some point.
Well, what we've started to get in the more recent years is a sort of a modern version where it's big weights, heavy duty equipment like Watson's equipment, or what's the other brand that everyone went mad about for a few years back? I can't remember now. Plate loading machines, other mental block.
Hammer,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
With like big dumbbells going up to 100 kilos, but also with diners and healthy kitchens in them and several thousand square feet. So they've got an old school sort of training mentality, but a very modern and clean environment. And that's what Orpington's like. That's a bit like what Monster's like, what Rip Gym's like, which is Luke Sandow's home gym.
Okay, cool. Have you been to King's Gym, the one that James goes to?
I have, yes, and I'm actually going to be there Thursday morning with a client.
Ah, lucky you, man. Now, James, when I got to speak to him, this was even right before he turned pro, we had a conversation. I got to get him back on the show. James Hollingshead, that is. He described his gym as similar, kind of the modern amenities, but the hardcore equipment.
Yeah, and Muscle Works is very similar in Orpington. It's a very similar sort of size as well, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never actually been yet, so it'd be nice to go. But yeah, we're doing something with, no doubt, Ben Chow will be there, Luke's training partner, and I think Josh Malley is going to be there, Mr. Universe, because he was talking about doing an arm workout.
Nice.
So it's just going to be me abusing the shit out of them guys, really. Don't be expecting to see anything of me training. No, that ain't happening. I'm not stupid enough to embarrass myself that way.
You're going to be the man with the hammer standing on the side. You're going to bring that hammer? Bring that hammer with you.
But yeah, I think we're doing it. I'm going to end up making it content for Brood and Muscle. I think John was also, who owns Muscle Works, John was talking about making a seminar out of it as well. So it could end up being quite a big day of things, to be honest.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun, man. I saw you posted something up about, I can't remember where you were going, but you said, hey, I've got this day open, guys, if anybody wants to do some personal training. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I'd love to jump on that. I want to jump on that. But, obviously it's not going to work logistically.
Well, if you fly tomorrow, you should get there in time and,
carb up on the plane.
Yeah, you'll be fine, mate. Don't worry about it.
Well, it is a goal.
Back on the road tomorrow, so I head down south tomorrow. Maidenhead, Cricklewood. I think I'm down to Brighton on Thursday, but I'm sort of around London during the day, and then back up London Friday for a few clients, and then home. And
then after that, you'll be going to Germany.
Germany Tuesday. Yeah, Germany Tuesday, back Wednesday, and then I think I'm going to be Wales Thursday or Friday next week.
Have you been to the gyms in Germany before? I've never been. I've never been anywhere in Europe.
I haven't. I went to the gyms in Denmark when we went out there when we filmed UC2. Some good gyms, actually.
Okay.
But no, I've never been to the gyms in Germany. So I have no idea what gym culture's like over there at all, to be honest.
I know that we have Roman Fritz, IFBB Pro, listens to some of our shows. He's over there in Germany. I've talked to a few of our listeners. Germany in general fascinates me. I would love to see it. It looks like a beautiful place to be.
Well, I believe they're the big fans of the Mass Monsters over there.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah.
And obviously Marcus Rule and that. But yeah, I'm led to believe that they, more so than they are of the sort of quality physique, if you know what I mean. They'll always opt for the bigger guy over the more balanced guy.
Okay. Which Roman Fritz doesn't fit in that, because he's not the hugest guy, but he is, even in his off season, I'm like, what is he getting ready for? He looks like he's about to step on stage when he's in the middle of gaining mass. It's crazy. He's always in shape.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I've yet to be in shape, so rounds of shape. So I suppose I'm in some sort of shape.
Hey, I kind of got a topic we were kind of throwing back and forth before we recorded. I thought it'd be worth bringing up. You had mentioned about people looking for advice that fits their agenda. What do you mean by that? Yeah,
it's the technical term, I believe, is part of what's known as moral disengagement. And it's people will ask for advice, but they'll only take the advice that fits their intention. So you may get someone who makes a suggestion on a drug protocol and says, what do you guys think? And the suggestion may be quite unhealthy or excessive. But they do it because they want someone to quantify. They want someone to say, yes, it's a good idea, or yes, do it.
Yeah.
So that then in their head, it's not their decision, it's somebody else's decision. So then psychologically, if it goes wrong or they have an issue, well, it wasn't their fault because they were advised to do that.
Yeah.
And I think, you see people asking for advices on opinions, and then you see them getting quite defensive or quite argumentative about the opinions and advice that's offered. And at the end of the day, I don't think anyone offers advice to screw you up.
No, no.
It might not be the best advice, but it's the best advice to their knowledge base. I don't think anyone gives out advice because they want to screw you up. And I mean, I tend to go a little bit more the sort of health and safety side of advice because that's what I do and it's what I'm passionate about. Other guys maybe a bit flippant with the sort of up the trend sort of attitude towards things, but I don't think anyone ever gives advice, you know, thinking, right, I'm going to give this guy really bad advice so he fucks his health or so he doesn't achieve his goal. I don't think anyone's out to do that with advice, but the way people can get defensive wise when they're offered advice is quite ironic, really. You know, it's you that's asked the question, why are you biting the head off the guy that's giving you his opinion?
Right, right.
You know, if you don't agree with it, fine, you don't agree with it. And it may be wrong. It may not be the best advice, but it's the best advice he's got to his knowledge base. You can just choose to take that advice or ignore it. At the end of the day, you don't need to get into an argument about it. But it's easy, isn't it, on Facebook? I mean, the social media, it's so easy to get drawn down that rabbit hole of getting into an argument over an opinion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and people, I think it's kind of like an ego thing. You know, to get you to believe what they say. I don't know. But I do. I see it all the time, man. And it makes things pretty confusing when you are looking for advice, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, there's always those that give advice because they have maybe not done it completely cynically where there's an ulterior motive, but where they offer a service and it's a way of them drumming up business.
Sure.
I've noticed the more I get out online and give out advice, the more inquiries I get.
Sure. And you know what, too? It might not have been, let's even open that up a step further. Like when the message boards were really popular, because I guess what you're getting at is that sometimes when you're taking advice, you got to say, well, what was this person's agenda? And the message board days, a lot of times, especially if we were talking about gear, it was because maybe they were representing a particular brand and they're trying to steer you in that direction. You always got to wonder, right?
Oh, there's always that. But I mean, even people that coach or whatever that give advice out, I don't think anyone gives incorrect advice in a way of trying to get a client.
True.
You know, I still think they'd still give out correct advice. Now, people posting stuff, maybe not so much. You do see a lot of clickbait. And you do see a lot of attention posts that are purely to try and bring that person recognition. And some people have used that or done that in a negative way or in a controversial way to attract attention and interest in themselves. I mean, what's his name? Took shitloads of gear, but never looked very good. Made a big noise about it. Got quite popular because of it. American.
Took a lot of gear. Was it, took a lot of gear and he promoted a lot of gear use. Was it Boston?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. He promoted a lot of gear use at first.
I haven't seen much from Boston for a very long time. And I'm told by several people that when you actually meet him in person, he's actually a very nice guy. Don't know him from Adam. Doesn't really make any difference to what the point I'm trying to make. But I don't think Boston used the dosages he claimed.
You think he was sensationalizing it to kind of create a reputation?
But look what it did. It created a load of interest. He was very much a love him or hate him character.
Sure.
And off the back of that, he got a lot of business. He got a lot of work. And you do see that. I mean, when you start looking at people promoting stuff, you do see people who will deliberately put up controversial posts or controversial points of view.
Sure.
In order to create a buzz around the name.
You know what? You're hitting on something really good here, Dave. I've seen that, and I see it in like people who've reinvented. They'll either pull out in a compound that was little known. We'll take like Ment, for instance. Trustolone acetate was a good example where people have been like all of a sudden like, oh, we found the Holy Grail here, guys. And they began selling that and promoting it as, you know, this research product that nobody knew about. But guess what? Like all the pros realized it existed. It's not a game changer, but you know, they put it out there like all of a sudden, here's the big exciting thing and a new way to do things. You know, there is no, Dave, let me ask you this. I guess here's what I'm getting around to. I'm going to see if you agree with me. Do we need to reinvent the wheel? Because I personally don't think so. There might be ways to maybe make it go smoother, but we already have it figured out.
Yeah. And you know what? Some of the old school protocols that actually, okay, we may not have actually realized why they were effective at the time. We just did it because it worked. But it turns out that some of them have some very strong science behind them that we now understand the mechanisms behind it, where previously it was just observational.
Yeah.
You know, I noticed that when I put that drug with that drug, I got a better effect than when I used that one with that one, or when I used that one on its own. I mean, most anabolic steroids have been around for 40 years, 50 years. Very few are new. They've never gone anywhere because there was no medical use for them.
Right.
Men got looked as a TRT alternative with doses as low as 20 and 25 milligram. But it never went anywhere because it was just too problematic to work with because of blood pressure spikes and estrogen side of things that men can cause, because it's a bitch for aromatizing. But it was definitely looked at, and there's a few studies done on men, but that was donkey's years ago. You know, most of these drugs have been around for a very long time. They were developed a very long time ago. They just never went further forward because there wasn't a medical practice for them.
Okay.
You know, there's all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff when you start digging that's been around for a very long time and just not used anymore. So from a drug point of view, I don't think there's particularly anything really new. There are developments like SARMs in more recent years and peptides in more recent years. Yes, fully agree with that one. And myostatin inhibitors is another class of drug that there's still development in, but the basic steroids have been around for a very long time. We've learned more about how they work.
Yeah.
But and we understand the mechanisms more, but we knew about the effects 30 years ago. We just didn't know how it was causing those effects, particularly sometimes. You know, there's not a major amount of groundbreaking developments when it comes to the drugs. There's just a better, but what I find quite ironic as well, and this is something that's I'm starting to see sort of more and more of. We set out and it was steroids cause aggression.
Yeah.
Then there was a big move, both academically and user based. No, they don't. They don't make you angry at all. Just angry people take steroids.
Right.
Or you've got an underlying issue. We now know from studies coming out of, I think it was Sweden or Norway over the last, Oslo actually, over the last 2 or 3 years, that no, they actually do make you angry. And they do actually make you dumber. So the old stereotype of a bodybuilder steroid user being dumb and angry actually had some grounds in it. All right, it was exaggerated and it was over exaggerated, but when we start looking at what we know currently, and that may change again in 5-6 years time, what we know currently, we know that steroids damage brain cells, reduce memory abilities, and effectively reduce intelligence.
That sounds about right for me. For about the last 10 years, that sounds about right for me.
My memory particularly bad, but yeah, I've got dumber. And they change our aggressive, how we operate, how aggression is formed, and how we respond. So those old adages were actually true, and I've seen this in quite a few things with gear. We're now seeing the science to back up some of the old stereotypes that for a very long time, myself included, we fought against and said weren't true.
Yeah.
I mean, there will always be exceptions, and there will always be those who, I've never got angry on steroids and all that stuff. And, generally speaking, my gear use have been quite mild. Not in the sense of dosages, they've not been mild. Fuck me, I've been a right arsehole trying to claim that one. But I've been quite mild-tempered with my steroid use. But there has been where I have got aggressive or I've been more aggressive.
Well, let me steer you back to the point we were initially talking about, and that was that was the advice that we get, and the way that people are looking for advice to fit their agenda. Basically what you're telling me, that they just want to, and I've seen this before, the people who will keep asking until they get the answer they were looking for is what you really meant, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it on a few times. I actually remember somebody who was up and coming in the sport he'd chosen, and he asked my advice on something, and I basically told him, look, you need time off, mate. Your body's not liking where you are.
Yeah.
And then I saw him pose the same question. And at the end of the day, it's not up to him to take the advice. It's his choice whether he takes the advice I give him or anyone else gives him.
Absolutely.
There's no reason for him to follow my advice blindly. But he also asked on several other pages, and from quite a few people got a very similar response. And then he popped up on one page and asked the same question and got a load of probably semi-serious comments about, just up the dose and go for it, mate, and all that stuff. And he went, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And it was very apparent that he had basically searched around until he found someone that gave him the answer he wanted to hear, so that he could then have justification for doing what he wanted to do. Even though the vast majority of people had said the same thing about he needed some time off, or at least some time on a lower dose to let his body recover and get rid of some of the problems that he was facing.
So you probably really didn't want advice to begin with. He just wanted somebody to back up what he wanted to do.
Yeah. And he now doesn't pursue what he was pursuing anymore, and his health's not very good.
That's a shame, man. You don't want to be the guy that had, you don't want to say, I told you so. You know what I mean? You don't want to have to be there in the position where you can't even say that.
Oh, what difference does it make? It's not, we're not point scoring here.
Yeah.
It's, you do get some people that get frustrating, and you do get a little bit like, you've asked me this question in 8 different formats now, and the answer's still the same. Yeah. But at the same time, you've got to appreciate that, people's relationship with these drugs can be quite problematic and can be very, very strong, and the thought of them having to not use or reduce the doses that they do use can actually be quite fear-inducing for some people.
Sure.
It can be quite scary for people. I know what I faced coming off for the rest of my days. It was a little bit uncomfortable, because I knew that would change my size and strength, indefinitely. I would never be the same size or the same strength I was previously.
Yeah. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
Sometimes, yeah, especially when you've pursued it for so long and it's become part of you.
Sure.
It's difficult to walk away from what at that point in your life is something that defines you.
Yeah, no question. Especially, the more serious you are, the more focused you are. A guy like yourself, you put everything into it. I mean, I think the same could be said for a lot of competitors, people who've given their entire lives to it.
Well, it's the same in a relationship, though, isn't it? If you've committed 10 years into a relationship and that relationship ends through not your choice, then that's a difficult adjustment, because you've invested. One of the reasons it's a difficult adjustment is because you've invested so much time into that.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Much life and so much, especially if it's been a relationship where you've given up something in order to have that relationship.
Yeah, the more sacrifice you made.
Yeah, be it friends or be it, I was going to go around the world, become a world famous surfer, but I didn't. I settled and had a family, and then 10 years down the line, that's taken away from you, and you're sort of like, oh, well, I gave up on my dreams for this.
But what it's worth, Dave, I think you can still surf if you want to, if it's in your heart.
I've always wanted to be a ballerina.
No, never too late.
I've just always had this urge to dance a pink frilly costume.
Oh God!
Tiptoes. Is this giving you a good image here? Are you really?
No, I get what you're saying though. Hey, what do you say we take a quick break? We've got a bunch of questions over at the forum that we can tackle today.
Yep, no problem.
All right, guys, you can think about Dave and his work to become a future ballerina and listen to these ads, and we will be right back. Hey guys, why are you using sports nutrition that was designed for someone else? At TrueNutrition.com, they offer the world's largest selection of quality protein powders, and they let you design your own custom blend from a variety of powders, flavors, boosts, and packaging options, like the Team Skip blend, for instance. That's over 20 billion possible combinations to create a protein powder tailored to your diet, your goals, your tastes, and your budget. TrueNutrition.com also offers the ability to create delicious custom oatmeal blends, and they're third-party tested, proving that all their supplements are ensured to have the highest level of quality and value. Don't be a sucker and pay for fancy packaging and gimmicks. Discover the source that bodybuilders trust and stop using mass-produced nutrition that wasn't designed for you. TrueNutrition.com, and use our code ADVICES at checkout to let them know that you support the shows. Hey guys, I wanted to take this break to say thanks to Dave for everything he's doing here at Advices Radio, and thanks to Dave for everything he's doing for bodybuilding as a whole. You guys can check out more of his stuff. Go visit his website. It's croslands.org.uk. That's croslands.org.uk. Crosland's Harm Reduction Service specializes in providing concise, informative, and effective drug training to a wide range of professions, as well as advice to individual users. You guys can also check Dave out on his YouTube page, which is in the show notes, and also go to underconstructionthefilm.com to purchase the films today. Use the code ADVICES25 for a discount. All right, guys, and we are back. Drugs and Stuff with Dave Crosland. I'm Scott McNally, and Dave, we've got a bunch of Dear Davies on hand here, so I'm going to try to work some bodybuilding stuff back into that. But I'm going to start with the Dear Davy. Where's this one at? I just had my finger on it. No, okay, here it is. Dear Davy, how would you go about telling your friend that he is in a toxic relationship and that he should move on? She is a real succubus. Is it even appropriate to say anything, or should you just live and let live? I can tell my friend is definitely not happy, but from what he has told me, he has not made the obvious conclusion that it is as a result of his relationship. I've been in a similar situation myself in the past, and I knew that if others told me that the relationship was toxic, I ignored them. So how would I go about effectively telling him thanks? And this is from Big Bear.
It's a difficult one, that, isn't it? Because I think you're pretty much damned if you do and you're damned if you don't with that one. It's no one likes to hear that their choice is wrong, whatever it is.
That's true.
And no one likes to admit that they've fucked up. But then again, there are times when they just need someone to open that conversation with them so they can say, yeah, I know, but I don't know how to get out of it, sort of thing. I think as a friend, really, if you're a true friend, you will risk your friendship in order to secure your friend's health, well-being. But be prepared for the fact that it might end negatively, and you might then have difficulty in supporting your friend from afar if he shuts the door in your face.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing he probably doesn't want to do, because you at the same time, you don't want to. I mean, it's up to him, but he could isolate himself further into this relationship, not having you there. But I guess he knows where you're at and where you stand if he needs you, right?
Yeah, but then again, you've got to admit you were wrong.
True.
And that's just, it's probably harder to go. It's probably easier to admit you're wrong and walk away from a relationship than it is to admit you're wrong to go back into a relationship. Because you have to go back into a relationship with the person that you're admitting you're wrong to, if you get what I'm meaning. So to go to his friend say his friend goes to him and says, mate, she's a bitch, get rid of her. And he's like, fuck you, you're just jealous, see you later. Right. It's probably harder for him to go back to him afterwards and say, look, mate, you were right, I was wrong, I'm sorry. Where it's easier to go to the girlfriend, fuck off, because he's never going to see her again. Well, not in a relationship point of view.
Yeah.
But I would say whatever you do in this situation, you're going to have to sort of do it carefully. You're going to have to test the water, and it's very much going to be a case of tippy toes. It's definitely not a bull in the china shop. Look, mate, she's bad news. Get rid. But you can start to possibly broach the question or point out that certain behaviours aren't normal.
Yeah.
Or maybe even just, look, mate, what's wrong? You just don't seem yourself. You're not happy. Why aren't you happy? You deserve to be happy, pal. What's up? And see if you can lead them to open up a little bit and start to talk about the problems. But, we've all seen it a million times. I mean, I've even seen it with physical. I've even experienced it with physical abuse. I saw a guy beating his missus, stepped in, the missus jumped on me.
Oh, God. I've heard that's common. I hear that domestic abuse cases with the police are some of the most dangerous calls they receive.
Yeah, because they step into the middle of it, doing what you would think was the right thing, and then the partner turns on them because they're now attacking their partner.
Yeah.
People are weird.
Yeah.
People are weird. So I suppose all you can do is point out when it's unreasonable, but try not to get too confrontational with it.
Yeah.
That way you won't burn that bridge, and though they might go a bit cold with you for a little bit, it's about planting that seed, I think, isn't it? And getting them to start thinking in that manner.
I like that, yeah.
It's about suggesting that maybe that behavior isn't normal and suggesting that maybe he doesn't deserve to be treated like that. Because a lot of this is usually a partner as well, convincing the other person that their behavior is correct and that they deserve the behavior.
Yes, you nailed it, dude. You freaking nailed it. And then you get caught in that situation where you feel like this is normal. I think that's your buddy, as the buddy, that's the best thing you could do is just kind of be there to maybe even just kind of ask the question, it doesn't seem normal to me. Just so you know, just so you're aware, that is not the way that you deserve to be treated. And
at the same time, just giving him somewhere where he can escape.
There you go. Yeah. Not judging, right? Not judging.
Yeah, somewhere where he can just get away. I stayed in a toxic relationship for nigh on 12 years.
Okay.
And I actually stayed in that relationship because of the way I dealt with a previous relationship. So it was my guilt from the previous relationship was forcing me to stay in the toxic relationship because I was punishing myself mentally.
And you're telling yourself you were doing the right thing.
I was telling myself this is what I deserve because of how I didn't deserve better. This was the best I was going to get because of how I'd been in the past. And almost to a point where I got to the point where I was saying, you know what, I just don't deserve to be happy anymore. And it just got to a point where I was like, you know what, no, I do. Despite what I've done, despite how I despise, and the feelings were that strong where I did despise myself for my actions previously.
Yeah.
I can't live the rest of my life punishing myself for that. That's gone. Everyone deserves happiness, and it wasn't like I didn't accept what I'd done. It wasn't like I wasn't a realist about what I'd done and how I'd behaved. And eventually I made a decision that I needed to move on.
Yeah.
And staying in a toxic relationship wasn't good for me, but it also wasn't good for everyone else involved, including the person I was with.
Sure.
And I did move on, and that was a major changing point in my life. And a big learning curve as well. You know, we all deserve happiness.
Yeah.
The difference is when you make a mistake or you do something wrong, if you accept that mistake and you have changed or you have endeavored to change or learn from that mistake, then you do not deserve to be continually punished for it.
I couldn't agree with you more, man.
When you don't learn that you deserve the punishment to continue because you're still making the same fucking mistake.
So hopefully this guy's buddy is ready or, you know, becomes ready. I can say just out of personal experience, you know, it's good that he has you as a friend, and it's only going to be those people that can help you. He's going to need you at some point. At some point, he's going to need you. So even if he rejects your help right now, be ready to be there for him when he's ready. Do you know anything about, are you related, Dave, to using mag bars? I'm on another question. I'm jumping topics. I'm trying to get back into bodybuilding, raise the testosterone back up.
I sell them.
Okay. Because I didn't think that you produced them. I thought I saw you using them before. Because here's a question. It says, thanks, guy. Love the show. I've been wanting to hear about how Dave got into making the mag bars. Does Dave own the company? What's his motivation to make pull down bars? Has Scott ever used one? Now, I didn't think you made them, but you do sell them.
Mag is an American company.
I thought so. Yeah.
And they don't have any overseas distributors really.
Oh, really?
And there is one importer into the UK.
Okay.
But strangely enough, their market isn't bodybuilding.
Oh, really?
It's more Olympic lifting and weightlifting. So they bring these bars in, but they don't really have a way of selling them or a marketplace to sell them to. And I got to know this company, I can't even remember how now. And they just said, well, look, if you can shift them. So I set up a trade account with them and I do move them for them, but they don't bring huge amounts in. And unfortunately, the popular ones, which is the supinated grips, run out of stock very, very quickly.
Okay.
And they are so bloody expensive. But they're a nice bar. I like them. I like to use them as a training aid to teach people how to train because they force your shoulders and your hands and your elbows to move in a certain plane of motion, which is particularly effective on back movements.
I love the mag bar. Which one's your, well, you know what, first, let me let the audience know. So we did talk about mag bars just recently on Blood, Sweat, and Gear, and Skip likes them too. So it's basically like an ergonomic type bar for pull downs or rows. They have different widths. There's one that's real close all the way to one that's really wide. They have supinated and pronated grips, and the way your hands fit into it, it's more of like this ergonomic little handle that's just easy to hold. They're made with a really cool texture. I really like the feel of them. And they're very lightweight. You could easily you could buy one and take it to the gym with you. Just throw it in your gym bag. At least like the medium shoulder width, which that's my favorite. So I want to throw that out there.
They do 3 narrow, which is a pronate, supinate, and a neutral grip. Okay. They do 3 medium, pronate, neutral, and supinate grip, and they do 1 wide, which is pronate grip.
Okay.
The wide is wide. So if you're sort of 5'8" and under, it's probably going to be a little bit too wide for you.
It's a little much for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a big, long bar. I personally prefer the medium neutral.
Okay. You like the neutral grip, huh?
I don't like the narrows. I find they cause too much elbow flare, and I don't think they're particularly effective at hitting the back as well as the medium grips do.
Well, you are a wide guy too. So I feel like you putting your hands together in front of you is probably ergonomically going to be different than me putting my hands together in front of me. You know what I mean?
Well, to contract the back in a row position, your elbows must pass past your back.
Okay.
And with a narrow grip, as that bar comes close, the elbows don't go backwards, they start to flare outwards.
I could see that. Sure.
So you don't get the same contraction, where the neutral, or the medium grip, allows the elbows to track backwards past the torso, which is so much better for the back recruitment. But they are really nice bits of kit. But the price, I mean, I don't think they're particularly cheap in the States, but they are ridiculous over here.
What are we talking over there?
A narrow over here, delivered, including all the taxes, is £99.
99 pounds. So that comes out to what's a pound for $1?
I don't know. Is it about 1.3, 1.4? I don't know. The dollar's question.
I think so, somewhere around there. So you're paying a little bit more. I think I want to say you probably get it more for like $100 in the U.S. without it.
Let's say round figures $130 to $130.
Okay,
$130 to $140 for the narrow.
Okay, so you're maybe paying a little more to get it shipped over there. But, I mean, realistically, though, if you've got the extra money sitting around, I think they're fun. Do you absolutely need it? No. But I've been doing rows every, couple times a week for the last decade, plus easy 2 decades in my life. So, I mean, I could see justifying it, but yeah, not cheap, but.
Well, the full set, you're not going to get much change over here out of $900.
Okay.
Which is 7 bars. So it's not cheap, but a couple of bars for personal use, I think is well worth the investment myself.
Yeah. Or if you're a gym owner.
If you're a gym owner, I mean, they're an amazing set of kit. The only danger is some bugger nicking them, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Oh, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple of gyms order a set and 2 sets, but I do like them, and I do think they're a well worth investment.
Yeah.
But go to a gym, try them, find the ones that work for you, and just buy those individual bars.
There you go. You like the neutral, you were saying, huh?
Yeah, I really like the neutral. I find the supinate a little bit too much bicep forearm activation.
Okay, I could see that. I like the supinated personally. But
they make you create a hook grip, and that surprisingly well. You don't seem to have any issues with grip failing on them. No,
you don't. I could use the same weight that I would use with a traditional pull down bar, which I would use my straps on. And obviously you can't use straps on them, but you don't really need them. Do you use straps on a regular basis, Dave?
I used to. I don't now.
No?
No, I used to. But then I've never had a particularly strong grip. I've got very big fat palms, but very short fingers.
Okay.
Which is never going to be good for grip. But no, I would. My general rule of thumb was if it was barbell, 3 plates and above, I'd strap. I'd go up to 3 plates probably with open my own grip, and then I'd strap up as if I went above that weight, and pull downs would be anything over 300 pounds I'd strap. But at my biggest I was pulled down 550 pounds.
Wow. Jeez. That's a lot of weight, man.
It's not really an exercise that people think about shifting big weights on, but it was fun trying to get in the machine.
I could only imagine, because I'm thinking you would have to weigh obviously less than that. You never got that heavy, so that would be a lot just to fight to pull that to keep the weight from pulling you up.
I used to use 3 people to get me down.
Really?
Yeah, one either end of the bar and one behind me.
Oh my God, that would be quite a sight.
And have plates pinned all over the stack.
Oh, I bet, man. I'm surprised the cable didn't snap.
Well, it was a 400-pound stack on the machine. It was a particularly big stack on the machine anyway.
Okay.
Then, sticking plates all over it was fun.
How many reps did you remember getting?
Oh, 5, 6, somewhere around there. But they weren't the tightest. They were loose, but they were full range.
Okay.
What I'd tend to do is I'd explode down and then do a controlled negative when I went super heavy like that. And it was just to sort of try and break. I found back was a body part that responded well to overload for me.
You were starting to say like break a plateau, you get used to that, and then you could.
I couldn't do it all the time, but I would go overly heavy on back to overload. It was one of the few muscle groups. The thing, and I think it's one of the things that people struggle with back a lot, is because one, you can't see it,
yeah,
and two, it doesn't really have a point of contraction in the same way as other groups do. If you pull your arm back past the side of your back, you just sort of keep going until you run out of mobility rather than the muscle contracts. Where with chest, you have a point of contraction. Bicep, tricep, you have a point of lockout. You don't have a point of lockout with back. And I found that a mix of controlled work and then some overload work worked very, very well.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Always control the negatives, even on the overload work. Always used to make sure I controlled the negatives. The one thing that scared me the most with doing heavy back work was the fear of tearing a bicep.
Oh yeah.
I used to enjoy rowing heavy, but at the same time, I used to hate it because that fear of always pulling a bicep off. Do
you find that you got good arm development through heavy back work?
No, because I always used a hook grip. In fact, when I was early on in my training, it was the one thing I spent a lot of time getting rid of was arm engagement in my back work.
Okay.
So I used to use a hook grip, and I went to straps if I felt my arms were kicking in a lot. But yeah, no, got very little. In fact, had a period of time where I struggled with bicep tendons from heavy back work, and then I spent a lot of time just really focusing on back engagement and getting my back to pull in the movements, and I never had a problem after that.
Yeah. Okay. Got a question about one of your least favorite compounds, EQ. Can you ask Dave what he thinks about any proof that boldenone increases collagen synthesis and best steroid for joints and ligaments? He's asking, the second part is what's the best, I guess, is what he's asking. You like Deca that's the go-to, isn't it?
Yeah, and for good reason. GH has an impact, Deca. Really, I mean, you're looking at your peptides, aren't you? If you want a product that's directly designed to help with ligaments and tendons, you're looking at your BPC 157.
Yeah.
With regards to EQ, it's my understanding with its help with collagen synthesis and tendons is purely because of the increase in RBC and oxygen transportation around the blood system. I just don't like it. Simple as. That's just me. I know some people swear by it. I know Dave Palumbo loves it, but he's very much he says to me he's very much a low dose man with it, sort of 200, 300, 400 mg. I just don't find it. I don't mind DHB, the hydroboldenone.
Okay.
But I've never been a fan of EQ.
So you like DHB? We haven't talked about that before. But we've been getting questions about it recently. It was something that we were asked on Muscle Minds. We talked a little bit about it on Blood, Sweat, and Gear a couple weeks ago. I ran it a couple of times. I know Skip is getting ready to run it his first time. What were your thoughts, your experience as far as how the compound worked for you?
I've never used it.
Oh, I thought you said you liked it.
I liked it from a point of view of pharmacology and what I've seen with clients that I've used it with, but I've never personally used it.
I see. I got you.
I just, high blood values, liver stress, stomach issues off the back of high blood values. I just find EQ is generally regarded as a mild compound and a sort of relatively safe compound. And from my experience and from the experience of working with people who use EQ, it seems to cause more problems than it actually helps with. And I just think there's better compounds that give you a better bang for the buck.
Okay. Fair enough. I will say I liked it in that I made some good progress with it. And at first I didn't like it at all. And then I really enjoyed it. And now I want to be careful with it because for the reasons you said, I'm concerned about blood values. and getting my blood too thick. So it's something I want to be really careful with moving forward. But I could definitely see your perspective, especially if you like Deca and everything works good for you with that. Then I feel like it's not broken, so you don't need to fix that, right?
Yeah, I agree.
How about blood flow restriction? This is from Acer Boy. He says, do you think that it really works?
No.
No? Have you done anything with
Next
it?
question.
Just nothing, huh? Did you give it a try?
No. I think people like it because you get the sensations that come from blood flow restriction training, but I don't see any real world evidence that it has any impact or any noticeable impact on muscle growth. And I just think it's more trying to reinvent the wheel and just, hey, look at me, I'm doing weird shit. Pick a weight up, put it back down, pick it back up again, do that until you're fucked. Job done. Go home. Why does it need to be any more?
So it's just too complicated for you. It's just too much.
It's just unnecessary. I just find it unnecessary. I'm a great believer in correct form, and I don't just mean that from a point of view of like form police. I mean that from a point of view of engaging the muscle correctly.
Okay.
So making sure that whatever exercise you choose for that body part, you feel it in the body part you're trying to train.
Okay.
Once you get that working, then push weight. Go heavy, go hard. When you start to lose that engagement, pull it back, tighten your form, have a bit of a period of time of getting that feel back again, then push heavy and push hard again. And I'm not one for all these weird and wonderful combination exercises. And if they work for you, if they keep you interested, at the end of the day, the training that's going to work for you is the training that you're going to put the most effort into.
That's true.
And if you put more effort into standing on one leg and doing an alternate shoulder press with a dumbbell while doing a pistol squat on that one leg, and that's what gets you to put the most amount of intensity into your training, then you'll probably find that you respond well with that.
You should get Luke Sando and Josh Malley to do that when you guys train together.
Oh, I'm planning to.
Pistol, yeah. What was that? One-legged something.
One-legged pistol squat with an alternate dumbbell shoulder press at the same time.
Yeah, they'll be
I saw
good.
someone doing that the other day. That's the only reason it popped into my head.
Oh my gosh!
I just sat there going, "What the?" But people like to reinvent the wheel. A lot of sort of mainstream PTs and stuff will come out with some really weird combination exercises that aren't actually anything wrong with them.
Yeah,
but they're just a bit unnecessary in my book. But when you keep it simple and you keep it basic, people look at you like you're taking the piss. Because it's like, it has to be more complex than that, otherwise I'd be massive. No, it doesn't have to be more complex than that. You just don't fucking train hard enough, or you don't eat enough food. That's the bottom line. But it is very, very easy to make workouts intense, less easy to make workouts effective. That takes a little bit of thought and time developing the connections with the movements that you use for the muscles that you train.
That makes sense. Yeah, time. We mentioned Deca earlier for joint relief. The guy has a question. He's talking about putting a cycle together. Looks like it's going to be a cut cycle because he's adding EQ, Masteron, and he wonders NPP. Can you get the same joint relief benefits from NPP as you can from Deca?
Yeah, it's the same drug.
Okay. So it doesn't have to do with like the water buildup from the Deca, or it's the compound itself is what you think is going to actually do the help, huh?
You don't necessarily have to have water buildup from Deca. I know plenty of people run Deca with no water blow.
Okay, because that's what I hear from people, and it's good to clear this up, I guess, because some people be like, oh, the reason the Deca helps is because it adds so much water to your joints. You're shaking your head at me.
Where is it? Yeah, I am. Where is it put in the water?
I'm just telling you what I hear, Dave.
So there's a bag of water that lives in the joint. No, it's look. Deca has an effect on collagen synthesis. That is part of the effect of how Deca works.
Okay.
It's an anti-inflammatory, and that's a big part of how it helps with the joints as well. It's also will activate the progesterone receptor, the PR. Progesterone is used in the production of a natural anti-inflammatory that helps lubricate and keep our joints healthy. So those factors all together is one of the reasons why Deca helps support joint integrity and joint health when you use it. One of the big reasons people, there are some effect. The drug does aromatize slightly. It is a very weak version of estrogen, but it does happen. It happens at about 20-25% of that, the rate of testosterone. A lot of people forget that Deca aromatizes, so they don't check their estrogen based on that. Because it has an impact on the progesterone receptor, progesterone can have a similar effect to estrogen, so there can be an element of water retention from the back of that. But for most cases, with most people, Deca is used in the off-season when diets are looser, and therefore diet shit food equals water retention when you're on gear. So if you keep your diet tight, you will find that water retention from Deca is a lot less than it would be if your diet is loose. But the difference between NPP and Deca is the ester. The hormone element of it is exactly the same. So it's the same with Test Prop and Test Sip and Test Nth. It's the same active ingredient. It's just the time it spends in your body is different.
Okay. So you can get the same benefit then, just a different dosing protocol.
Right.
All right. I'm having a hard time. We'll go to two more questions here. I'm having a hard time totally understanding this, and I think it's because he wrote it very Britishly. There's a couple words in here that I'm not familiar with. What's this word? Codswallop?
Codswallop.
What's that? First of all,
bullshit.
Codswallop. Okay, because he said we could use it as a word of the day if we wanted.
No, it's a good word. Is codswallop? Yes, definitely. We haven't done that for a few episodes actually.
No, well, we got one now. Codswallop.
A load of codswallop is basically a load of rubbish.
Okay, so this is Jay-Z Bodybuilding. He says, "Hey guys, hope all is well with you and your loved ones. Not drug related. Would love to hear both of your guys' thoughts on having a health problem that is causing bleeding. Currently going through tests, but as Dave knows, the NHS is complete codswallop." Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Is NHS your medical system over there?
Yeah, National Health Service.
Okay. And he says it's taking forever. He says the bleeding has been on and off since April, but it's here every time I use the toilet. And he put in quotes, "and lay a cable."
Very colourful gentleman we were this one.
And it's a message, and it's messing with my mind when coming to training, as I am scared to go heavy like I was a few months back. I'm 18 years old and presume it's internal piles. Hemorrhoids is what I guess that term means, yeah? Yeah. But we shall see. Any help on breaking through the mental barrier, because it's depressing not being able to train. Cheers, guys, and all the best. All right, I got through that. I feel more British, too. A little more British. Tiny more British. Dave, so it sounds like he's thinking he's dealing with hemorrhoids. He's going through testing. This is not a fun situation for the guy, and I'm sure it's probably kind of embarrassing for him to even, talk about. What kind of advice can we give him, really?
Yeah, well, soon, really. You've just got to sort of run the course, haven't you? Bleeding of any sort, blood loss of any port is not something that needs to be taken lightly.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't really know what to say. apart from sympathies?
I got a couple.
What?
Okay, so he's a young guy. He's 18.
Oh,
We don't know how long he's been bodybuilding for. He may be hammering a bunch of crazy high protein foods. This may be affecting his digestion. Are you getting enough fiber, first of all, right? Mm-hmm. You start getting all backed up and everything. You start clogging the pipes, and you're going to have a harder time going to the bathroom. If you're not having easy, smooth bowel movements, you shouldn't have to be straining or pushing. If that's happening, you probably need more fiber. Increase the water intake, make sure that digestion is as smooth as possible, because if that's rough down there, man, you're asking for trouble, right?
Yeah, that may also be a case of looking at his fats as well.
Oh, okay.
If he's on a very, very low fat diet, his stools will be harder. And like you say, high protein diet, his stools will be harder. I mean, I don't know I don't know anything about hemorrhoids, to be honest. So I don't know what helps and what doesn't help.
Yeah.
I don't know if a softer stool is going to make life easier or if it just makes things messier. I really don't know.
That's what I understand is that, the less,
but you know where I'm going with that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I understand is the less strain, the less, irritation that you're causing, the better. NHS, so they're not the quickest, huh?
No, then sometimes they're okay. It's like any public health service. Some bits are good, some bits aren't, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
I've had really good service from some, and I've had really poor service from others. So it's not fair in tarring the whole of the NHS with it being shit. They are stretched financially, budget wise, and staff wise. And I mean, my renal specialist who's left now, unfortunately, went above and beyond with everything he did. The replacement's not bad.
Yeah,
but then I've had the emergency services turn me away when I should have been hospitalised.
You're kidding.
No. Yeah. The matron came up to me and just said, go home, you're wasting my time.
Whoa. That's terrifying, man.
I rang up when I got home and got sent back down and then got hospitalised for 5 days post it. And I believe she got told in no uncertain terms that she was an idiot.
Yeah, well, thankfully you didn't die in the process, right?
Oh, it wasn't life-threatening as such, but it was... I needed care.
Okay.
That was when my kidneys originally packed in.
Oh, geez. So it could have been really bad.
Yeah, and the only reason I went in was because my renal consultant told me if it gets to this stage, you admit yourself straight away. And she said that I was wasting their time and to go home. Wow. Yeah, I wasn't best pleased about that either. But, at the same time, I say I've had very good experiences. But I feel for the guy, I really do. I really think, though, more than anything, he needs to concentrate on dealing with the problem, and heavy lifting and straining is probably going to add to the issue as well. If what you're saying is strain of that nature, I mean, I'm surprised I didn't actually push my bowels out of my arsehole on some of the lifts in the past. So,
God.
And we have seen prolapses occur in powerlifting, so we know there's pressure.
I'm grabbing my guts right now.
Right. So I would say, you know what, just maybe take a lighter, more high volume approach for now and just maybe back off trying to push too hard and focus on getting well.
Yeah.
End of the day, you're 18. You've got plenty of time, mate. You don't want to be carrying this problem for the rest of your days because you rush things or push things the wrong way now.
Good point. We can, let's end it on a fun one.
Yes. We get some lovely subjects on here, don't we?
Yeah. Well, you know what, man? I bet this is something too. He's probably a little embarrassed to talk about it.
I have no doubt there's somebody else with a similar problem as well that may have been in the same situation and not wanted to ask.
I got last question we'll do. And once again, guys, all our questions we're taking today are from the forum. So if you go to Advices Radio, if you go to advicesradio.com, click on the forum button in the bodybuilding section that's near the top, you'll see stickies for all the shows. We are in the drugs and stuff thread. This is from UC Suma. He is a client of mine. He's made awesome progress over the past few years. He says, both Scott and Dave, it's inspiring to see how passionate you both are about hardcore balls out training. If you could both train with one person, who would that be? Limit that to current bodybuilders. No Ronnie Coleman in his prime answers. We want something that could actually happen someday.
Oh, God. The hardest training I do these days is wiping my ass. But who would I train with now?
I got a couple.
You know, I really don't. Oh, actually, I tell you who I know who does train hard or was training hard. Was Anth Bales.
Oh, yeah, he was or is. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not been so well, I believe. He's had a couple of injury problems. But
oh, no kidding. I didn't know that.
Anth was a hard trainer.
No, he's over there with you in the UK. In fact,
yes,
James Grealish made a movie about him as well. Do you know him?
Yeah, I know Anth. We don't speak like regularly, but I know him well enough to pick up the phone and ring him.
Dude, he's cool, man. I loved the movie that James Grealish made about him. That was awesome.
He's a proper old school attitude to gym. You know, can't do with all this men's physique and all this.
Yeah.
I don't really know, you know. There was a guy. Can't remember his name. He was involved with Mike and Lisa Goshi for a while with their gym. I think he's gone his own way now. I can't remember his name, but he trained hard.
Yeah.
Really hard, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Leisha's a ball breaker when it comes to training people.
Who is?
Leisha Gelsha.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
Well, they own a gym in Wales. Both judged for UKBFF and both now judged for PCA.
Oh, okay.
Lisa's a very successful coach as well. Mike's competed in the Masters in a European level. I get on Mike and Lisa really well. But when Leisha tells me somebody trains hard, you know they train fucking hard.
That's cool.
And his name's gone right out of my head. It's come on a long way in the last couple of years, but he pushes himself in the gym, and he would have been a good guy to train with. But to be honest, I don't really know. It'll be interesting to see how Luke trains and how Josh trains when we get together in later on this year, because I've no idea how they train as well.
Everything I've seen from Luke, he is so strong.
Yeah, he's a strong guy, but I'm not sure on his approach in other ways. I mean, like I say, I'm big on effectiveness, so I do lots of little tweaks to things just to make them really, really intense.
Okay.
Which generally results in weights going quite a lot lighter than normal. So it'll be interesting to see how he deals with that if he's used to moving big tonnage.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Which that could be what somebody could use when they're really, really strong, right?
Yeah, because you can't keep piling more weight on, and plus there comes a certain point when the injury risk outweighs the benefit.
Yes.
When it's a career, when it's your career and it's how you earn a living, that's something you've got to start factoring in. Is what if I get injured?
Yeah.
Not so much train with, because I know Jordan quite well anyway, and I know how he trains. But I would like to put Jordan through a workout and just play with a few things in how he trains and see what he thought of it.
Yeah. That could be interesting, I'm sure. Same type thing. I think he's gotten more into the squeeze now from the last I had heard him than he had in the past. So he's getting more out of what he's doing versus just moving that crazy weight that he can push.
He is immensely strong.
So strong.
I think it'd do some damage in powerlifting if he ever chose to change disciplines.
Oh, I bet.
But there's probably more there's people I'd like to train rather than people I'd like to train with.
Fair enough.
And that's probably more a reflection of my lack of ability in the gym these days.
Well, I got a couple for you. After seeing your post yesterday, it was, and you were like, "Hey, I've got spaces open." I was thinking to myself, it would be so easy if I lived there to get a workout in with Dave Crosland. We talk all the time, and I was like, and man, he's right there. Like, if I was there, I could just do it. I could get in my car, I could drive over, I could meet him in his convertible. We could get a workout in, and that would be awesome, man. So you were on my list, and then I've got Dr. Scott Stevenson, because he's just so intense.
You know, actually thinking about it, I had forgot about Scott. Yeah.
Oh, for shame. Yes, he is so intense.
I'd really like to just sit in the gym and not particularly train, but go through our various ways of approaching different exercises.
Yeah.
See, to me now, that's more interesting, is developing that side of things rather than just the straight training.
Okay, yeah.
So it'd be like, right, here's a bench press, Scott. How do you do it? Well, I do it like this. Well, what do you think to this? You know, that sort of conversation.
Yeah. I would not want to ask him. I would just want to, because I wouldn't want to take away. Like, I would want it to be a brutal workout. So I would just try to follow him and take any cues he gave me. Of course, respect the weights. He'd probably be lifting more than me, but try to follow him in intensity and in structure. You know, I feel like I've learned enough of what he does that I could get it. And if he needs to say anything about like any cues that I should look for, I'll take it, but just keep the workout moving so we can like keep it real intense. And then also Skip Hill, because I've gotten to know Skip for a long time, and we are probably going to get a chance to train because we're both going to the Arnold, and he works with Elite FTS. And so he wants to get a workout in over there at the compound, and I'm invited. So I'm gonna be able to make two of these three things possibly happen in my lifetime, and one of them in the next couple months.
Sounds good.
Yes, and eventually I'd like to make the third happen on my UK gym tour. Come over and get a workout in with Dave Crosland.
You know, if you come over, mate, I'll give you a workout.
That would be amazing. That would be so cool.
Yeah, anytime, most definitely. You come over, I'll take you through a workout.
Well, until I'm going to say not until that time, because that's probably going to be a little while. But until
life is a strange way of changing things.
Yes, but until next time, we are out of time. You have a bunch coming up, Dave. What's the game plan for today?
Now, go for a pee, because I'm busting for one.
All right, man. Go on and get...
I've got just client work, a couple of diets to do, some reports to do this evening, and then get myself ready for getting on the road tomorrow.
Awesome, man. Well, good luck with your travels, and good luck with everything over in Germany, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Okay, mate. Speak to you soon.
Guys, for another episode of Drugs and Stuff with Dave Crosland, I'm Scott McNally. We will see you soon.
Advices Radio Network.